पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are continuing to study the Bhagavad Gita. We are in the 4th chapter, the 9th shloka. The 10th shloka we have to commence now. The context is, in the 9th shloka, the Lord says, Janma karma cha me divyam yo evam yo vetti tattvataha Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti Arjuna. O Arjuna, one who understands my janma and the karma. The both are very important in the context of the incarnations. The janma, the very birth itself is divine or very strange, esoteric in nature, and also the karma is also the very divine in nature. Janma and the karma, both are divine. One who knows this, understands this, one who understands the significance of the incarnation, he will not be born again. Tyaktva deham, after having given up this body, naiti, punarjanma naiti, he will not attain the rebirth again. And then what he will get? He will attain me and me alone. This is what we have read in the last class in the 9th shloka. Now, with this background, we have to study the 10th shloka. What is that moksha marga? What is that path of liberation? The early sadhaka, the ancestors have attained. It is not a path, it is not a new path, it is an old path, Krishna says. There are hundreds of people who have attained this status, and you have to just follow this path of yoga, path of jnana, path of bhakti. And how they attained, what were their qualification? This shloka is one of the most beautiful shloka. It will condense the whole spiritual practices we have to adopt in order to attain the liberation or the moksha. Vitaraga bhayakrodhaha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo jnana tapasaha puta madbhava magataha. So there are many people in the past who have attained me, madbhavam agataha. It is not something, a new instruction, and I am speaking, I am instructing through the Bhagavadgita. It is a very old path. There are hundreds of sadhakas who have attained me. So let us take up one by one. Madbhavam agataha. What is madbhava? Shankaracharya says, Ishvara bhavam moksham. Ishvara bhava. So Shankaracharya is an Advaitin. According to him, the Ishvara or the God, so-called God, is not different from Jiva. Jiva getting the knowledge and attaining the status of the Brahman, knowing that I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, itself is the Madbhava. Actually, in literally, the Madbhava is my status, or my position, or my consciousness. Bhava means my nature. So the sadhaka will attain my own nature. This is the meaning. So Ishvara Bhavam. So one will become one with the Ishvara. But in the Bhakti school there are several stages. The three stages are very important. One is the Salokya. Living in the abode of the Bhagavan is the Salokya. Swamipya, very near to God. We have almost become the God, residing very near to God and keeping the individuality, but we feel the nearness of the God, proximity of the God is called the Salokya. And the last one is Sayujya, becoming one with the consciousness of God. Even there one keeps the individuality. Individuality is not lost, but he will feel the bliss of the God. So in some bhakti schools, the liberation is sharing the Ananda aspect of the Lord, living in the Vaikuntha, in the proximity of the Lord, and feeling the consciousness of the God. So this is what is called Madbhavam Agataha. There are hundreds of people, hundreds of sadhakas in the past to have attained these stages. So you will find the complete identification, Tadatmya. So whatever upasanas, meditation told in the Yoga Vedanta tradition, this identification is very important. Suppose I am meditating on Sri Ramakrishna, my individuality will go nearer to the consciousness of the Sri Ramakrishna and ultimately merge in the divine consciousness of the Sri Ramakrishna. That identification, the Tadatmya, is the goal of every upasana or the meditation. So we start the meditation as I am an individual. As an individual, I am different from the Godhead, but ultimately I become one and the same. I become a similar, I have the same consciousness of the God. This is the idea. So Swami Vivekananda mocks at the individuality. What kind of individuality you have? You are in the mesh of the body and mind, and you are suffering. You think you are limited. You are not losing individuality, because what you are experiencing, your understanding of individuality is incorrect. You are not the human beings. You are not limited. You are not limited to body and mind. And you are the immortal. You are Atman, you are Brahman, you are the God whom we are worshipping. So the upasana and the meditation or the sadhana is to find the complete identification with the God we are worshipping or we are meditating upon. So an example is told in the Vedanta. So suppose there is a pot, within that pot there is a space. We can call it as Ghatakasha, space within the pot. And there is a space outside also. Naturally, the space outside is bigger and infinite. The space within the pot is limited. But we know the space within the pot is same as the space outside. There is absolutely no difference at all. If we break the pot, the limited space will become one with the infinite space outside. In the same way, if we can break the bondage of our body and mind, our misunderstanding, our ignorance that I am the body and the mind, if that ignorance goes away, what happens is my individuality, so-called, is merged with the infinite consciousness. My so-called individual consciousness, which I feel limited within the body and mind, becomes one with automatically. It is not, it is spontaneous. It is just like breaking the pot, and the space of the pot, space within the pot becomes one with the space outside. That's all. So, this is how the madbhavam agataha, my bhava. So, everyone will get my nature. So, I am not different from the jnani whom I know me. In other places also the Lord says, jnani tu atmaiva me mataha. Jnani is my own Atma. So there are two ideas, very interestingly. I am the Jnani and Jnani is I am. Jnani is very dear to me because I am not different from. Whom do you like very much? You like your own Atman. I like myself very much. I don't like anyone more than I love myself. So who is that Atman whom we call my own? That is God Himself. So God, we have to understand what we call my, I, that Atman, individual soul, is nothing but God. Ishvaraha sarva bhutani hruddeshe arjuna tishtati. Krishna says, in every heart, in every recess of the heart, in every one, the same God resides. In the 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga, the Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bhadarata. The body and mind are different, but the infinite spirit, the consciousness, that is myself, that is Kshetrajna, it is one. The one consciousness resides in the bodies, the conglomerations of the body and mind, which are varied in nature. To give up that limitedness, to give up that the sense of the body and mind, and getting merged into the God consciousness, that is what is called liberation, is referred here as the madbhavam agataha. He attains me. Who attains me? The qualifications are told. Vita raga bhaya krodhaha. So what will happen when you do sadhana? What is the usefulness of sadhana? Of course, the liberation is the ultimate goal of the sadhana. But even while doing the sadhana, you will be free from these passions. There are three passions Krishna says you will be free from, and you can live a very happy, very peaceful, very joyful life. What are they? Raga, Krodha, Vita, Raga and Bhaya. What is Raga? We have to go to Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, in order to understand what is Raga. Raga means attachment. Dvesha is hatred or revulsion. Attachment to those things which are favorable to us. In more clear terms, suppose I experience a thing, or if I talk with a person, I engage with a person, I get a good feeling with him and I am attached to him. Sukhanushayi ragaha, the Yoga Sutra says. So going after the things or the persons who give us sukha and get attached to them is called the raga. Suppose the same person gives dukkha to us, his very contact, his very talking with him becomes a source of suffering or misery to us, we develop a kind of repulsion towards him or the hatred towards him, and that is called the dvesha. And raga and dvesha are the two faces of the same coin. In some places, in some context, we have raga. In some places, some context, with something, we develop the dvesha. So there are 5 vrittis, mental states, which gives us suffering, misery. Of course, I had to go to the basics of the mind as enumerated in the yoga. What is the basics? The mind is full of thoughts. You cannot conceive of the mind without thoughts. Vritti, it is called in yoga. Vritti means mental thoughts. So the mental thoughts are of 2 types. One is that gives us misery. They are called the klishta, and others are called the aklishta, favorable, that gives us joy, happiness, etc. The purpose of yoga is to reduce both or annihilate. Nirodha means annihilation, it is not suppression. There is a vast difference between suppression and the annihilation. We are going to destroy the thoughts itself. We are not going to suppress. Suppression means not allowing them to manifest. That will be in the potential state, but anytime it can manifest, it can take its ugly form. But we are not suppressing. Suppressing is a bad idea. Psychologically, it is very dangerous. What we are doing is, we are purifying our mind through sadhana, through meditation, through constant discrimination, and we are reducing the thoughts. We are trying to stop the thoughts coming into our mind. And purification of thoughts result into purification of our psyche, samskaras, the impressions also. The good impressions we develop, bad impressions will go. Ultimately, the good impressions are also to be curbed, annihilated, or destroyed. That is called, that referred in the beautiful word called the nirodha. So yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the annihilation or the stoppage of all kinds of vrittis here. So raga is one of the klishta vritti. Though we seem to be enjoying our attachment with things of the world or the persons or the situations we enjoy, we developed attachment. Attachment is also the source of our misery. It all starts, yoga says, with the avidya. Avidya means considering I am the body, I am the mind, I am not the spiritual entity. That is called avidya, ignorance. Ignorance leads to avidya, asmita. Asmita, in common terms in Vedanta, we call it as ahankara, identification with the body. Ahankara in Vedanta or asmita in yoga is identification with which I am not. I am not the body, still I identified with that. I am not the mind, still I am identifying with that. That is called the asmita. Through that asmita, we develop raga. We develop raga with those which are favorable to my body and the mind. It is favorable to my mind and the body, not to the Atman, not to the spiritual entity we are. Something is favorable, it is a good food, and we develop attachment. He is a good friend, we develop attachment to it. It is raga. When it is not favorable, we develop hatred or repulsion. And also we develop what is called abhinivesha in yoga, and that is clinging to life, fear of death. That we will come later. So these people, due to sadhana, yoga sadhana, especially here we are in the context of the jnana yoga, vita ragaha. They are free from all kinds of attachments. How detachment helps us in our life? This is very important. Attachment always gives us a semblance of losing something. I am attached to my son, I may lose my son. He may go abroad, he may not see me for years. I remember one incident, a lady comes to me and says to me, Swamiji, I want to speak to you on a very important thing, a trouble. I am being troubled by that. I have a problem. I have a problem lingering in my mind. What is that, ma'am? She says, my son is far off in Canada. I would like him to speak to me over phone for at least once in a week. He doesn't have time at all. He doesn't call me at all. So even though his son is far off, thousands of kilometers away, the poor lady has got attachment towards him. That attachment brings misery because the son is not calling him over phone, not trying to talk to him. This is the problem. Attachment, we feel it gives joyous. Our relationship with our wives, our husbands, our children, our relatives, and my attachment with my dog, sometimes my cat, my car, my refrigerator, all these are very good in the beginning, but it is the source of the attachment, it's source of dukkha. In fact, every kind of worldly attachment is the source of misery. So there is a beautiful saying in yoga, Sarvam Dukkham Vivekinaha, one who can discriminate, one who can discern, one who can see what is good and what is bad, what is real and what is not real. For him, everything is the breeding ground of dukkha. So this is about raga. So be free from attachment means the free from misery. So we have to develop attachment towards God. Sri Ramakrishna shows the best way, the simplest way of getting rid of attachment. This is very, very difficult path in the Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga to get rid of the attachment. It needs Herculean task. It is a Herculean task requiring gigantic willpower. But Sri Ramakrishna shows the way. He says, you develop attachment towards God. When you develop attachment towards God, naturally your attachment towards the worldly things will drop away. So one lady, he said, that lady comes to him and says, I have a strong liking for my nephew, I am not able to meditate, what I can do? Sri Ramakrishna advises him, consider your nephew, himself as Krishna. See Krishna in him. So divinization of the ordinary things. So the small things or small ordinary person, we can divinize it. We can see Krishna in ordinary people and try to understand the significance of the divinization of the ordinary world or the ordinary things, and that will make us free from the attachment. Vita ragaha. Next, Krishna says bhaya. Vita raga. Vita bhaya. How to understand this? First one is Vita raga. Second one is Vita bhaya. Bhaya. Why the bhaya? The fundamental fear is that something will happen to me. I lose and I will get destroyed. The source of all the fear is the fear of the death. Rather, it is told in the Gita, you should not, fear of the death is actually the fear of losing oneself, fear of and clinging to life. The clinging to life, I do not want to give up my body. I do not want to give up what is mine, what I am having. So fear, suppose you have a account of thousands of rupees, lakhs of rupees, you don't want to lose the money. In the same way, we think I am the body, I am the mind, so we have a strong attachment towards our body and mind, so we don't want to lose. Fear of losing and becoming zero or annihilation. This is the fundamental problem. So as I told you, that is called abhinivesha in Sanskrit. Abhinivesha, clinging to the life. And the next one is the krodha. We have already learnt in the 3rd chapter or so, kamayesha, krodhayesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. There is a one thing that is not two. So kama is same as the krodha. What is krodha? Sometimes appears as kama, sometimes appears as the krodha. Both are two expressions of the same evil passion. The passion is the same. I desire something, if there is an obstruction to get it, to acquire it, I develop anger. So what is kama is the same as the krodha. So you can as well as say vita kama also, being free from the kama. Why it is translated as freedom? Because these are the passions which bind us to the samsara, the transmigration of the life, transmigration, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, etc. Because of the attachment, because of this clinging to life, because of the kama and krodha, we are very much in the world. We don't want to get out of the abyss of this samsara, the cesspool of the misery. So when we are free from that, it is tantamount to the liberation. So this is one of the qualification of the liberated soul. Vitaraga bhayakrodhaha. As I told you, we have to understand this way: Vitaraga, Vita bhaya, Vita krodha. To be free from the attachment, to be free from the fear, and to be free from the krodha or the kama. Next epithet or the qualification of the liberated soul is manmayaha. It is translated as ever absorbed in, and Shankaracharya says Brahma vidaha Ishvara abheda darshinaha. I am not different from Ishvara. My consciousness, my Atman is the same as Paramatman. I am that Brahma. It is an Advaitic attitude. But if Bhakta doesn't think so, he gets absorbed in mind. Our mind is engrossed in worldly things. As Krishna says in the 2nd chapter, our mind is fluctuating, our mind is restless. We are not able to concentrate our mind at all. But when we can concentrate our mind on our objective of the life, the God's consciousness, and God is not different from me, He is my own Atman. So then that state is called the Manmaya. Manmaya. Maya means mayat pratyaya in Sanskrit is full of. Suppose this pot is full of water, we don't make any difference between water and the pot. There is absolutely no space for any one drop of water more, and water is full, water has filled it pot, whole thing is filled up. That is the state. Mind is filled with the thought of God. Mind is filled with the thought of God. This is the state of the complete identification, complete absorption. So complete always remembering God. So the Smarana Deva Kevalam, says the Bhagavadgita. Bhagavad-gita says, whatever disciplines, spiritual disciplines you undergo, the objective of all the disciplines is to remember God. Whom do you remember? When you remember someone, you will get identified with him. You lose your own consciousness. Be lost in the consciousness of those who remember, at least for that time. So when we try to remember God through bhajana, through meditation, we lose ourselves for that moment and we identify ourselves completely with the God. This is the meaning of the manmayaha. Vitaraga bhayakrodaha manmayaha. And the third idea is mam upashritaha. This is also a very beautiful idea. It contains always dependent upon me. In the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajaha. Give up all kinds of actions. Dharma means here the righteous action, the conduct which will help you to progress in our spiritual life. We are not able to do. If you are not able to do, surrender everything to me and you will get I will take care of you. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will make you free from all kinds of sin. Sarva mokshayishyami. This is the dependence on the God, complete descendance. That is what is here told as mam upashritaha. So there are two ideas in the Bhakti Shastra, especially Vaishnava Bhakti Shastra promulgated by Ramanuja. One is the Bhakti, another is the Prapatti. Bhakti is a systematic evolution of the devotion by sadhana, by proper sadhana, according to the scripture or according to the tradition, and also developing the detachment towards the worldly things and attachment to God through systematic training of the mind, spanning several years, throughout several years of sadhana is called the bhakti. This is what is upheld by Vedantic bhakti scriptures. But the prapatti is somewhat different. Prapatti doesn't need any training. Prapatti doesn't need any scholarship. You need not be born as a Brahmin or the high class society to practice prapatti. Complete surrendering oneself to God, completely depending upon Him is the prapatti. Prapatti is a direct way to God. Directly surrendering to Him is the prapatti. I think here Krishna is indicating the prapatti rather than the bhakti, so whatever it is. So this sloka, this verse contains the very essence of the sadhana or the spiritual practice. Vitaraga bhayakrodhaha manmaya mamu pashritaha. Bahavaha, there are many people in the past, jnana tapasa putaha. They have done the austerity. What kind of austerity they have done? They have done the austerity of the jnana. So jnana tapasa can be understood in two ways. One is knowledge and austerity. Because jnana is here, tapas also is here. Jnana and the tapas. But Shankaracharya says Here jnana itself is the tapas. Steadfast in jnana, following the path of knowledge and attainment of the Advaitic state of mind itself is the tapas. There is absolutely no difference between tapas and the jnana. Jnana meva. What is jnana? Paramatma Vishaya. So jnana is the knowledge of Paramatman. So in the Advaita, understanding that I am Brahman, but in the Bhakti Shastra, understanding that I belong to Brahma, God. God is not separate from me. God is the inner spirit, inner controller, antaryami, and I am always subservient to Him. I always belong to Him. This kind of idea. So this jnana tapasa, tapas itself is the jnana. There is no other kind of austerity required here. This understanding or trying to understanding steadfastness in the knowledge itself is the jnana tapas. Jnana itself is the tapas here. So this purifies us from all kinds of contaminants of the mind. Already we have done such persons, such sadhaka will be free from the bhaya, vita, raga, attachment and the krodha. He will be engrossed in the God, manmaya, and he will be always dependent upon the God and the God alone. So putaha, Shankaracharya says, param shuddhim gataha. He will always be purified. He will be free from all kinds of propensities. So, Jnana Yoga, according to Shankaracharya, is an independent path. Jnana Yoga itself is the tapas. It doesn't get influenced by the other path. Through the Jnana Yoga or the Jnana tapas, it is one gets an ultimate purification. How jnana purifies us and makes us liberated, makes us free from all passions, makes us go nearer to God and absorbed in God. So we have several references in the Bhagavadgita. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate. There is no such thing better purifier than the jnana. Jnana is the most purifying agent. So jnana purifies means jnana removes the ignorance. What is ignorance? Ajnana. Ajnana is the source of all the evils. As I told you, avidya or ajnana leads to ahankara or the identification with the body and mind. And identification with the body and mind will lead to two basic propensities, fundamental mistakes we do. One is the attachment and the another is aversion, raga and dvesha, and also the bhaya. So to become free from all kinds of propensities or the passions, one should attain the knowledge of the God. Knowledge of the God. In another place, Krishna says, Jnana agnihi sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute arjuna. Jnana is likened to the fire. The fire consumes everything, consumes the filth, it burns away the filth, burns away all kinds of impurities. But fire will never get contaminated. Fire always remains pure. This Jnana Agni will destroy all our old samskaras, whether good or bad, both kinds of samskaras. We don't want any kind of samskara. We want only God consciousness that should fill our mind. Ultimately, we should aim at merging with God, union with God. So Jnanagni Sarva Karmani, all kinds of samskaras. In fact, literally this word means action. It burns all actions. But we have to understand it burns up all kinds of impressions created by the actions. So in this shloka we have to have an insight. Here what is meant is Jnana Agni burns away all impressions created by the actions. Jnana Agni Sarva Karmani, it burns away and Karmani Kurote. So this is the power of the knowledge. This is the power of the understanding. So the bliss, knowledge is bliss. There is a saying in English. So through this is the significance of the knowledge, not the knowledge of ordinary type, knowledge of science or the knowledge of astrology, knowledge of physics. No, knowledge of God. Because knowledge of God removes the fundamental ignorance about ourselves and it makes us to understand we are spiritual by nature and it will lead us to the liberation, that liberation being oneness with God. So this shloka is very, very important, very beautiful shloka, and it has got a very tremendous significance, it can have a tremendous impression upon us if we can read with devotion and with attention. So I had to stop here because of some problem I am facing. So we shall continue this next week. Thank you very much. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.